Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Builder Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 55 today and we finish off our 6th season in charge, and it's a chance to wrap up another unique new treble. We've got the Welsh Cup final, having wrapped up the Welsh Premier League and wrapped up the SPFL Trust Trophy final too. And against our old foes Barrytown United, we've got another chance to win the Welsh Cup. An interesting finish to the Welsh League season as well, Carmarthen pipping TNS to second, and of course if we win this final today, we guarantee both sides a place in Europe next year. If not, Barrytown United could sneak in and TNS will have to go through the qualifiers. Again, they bottled it towards the end. So if you're looking forward to this one, an end of season review as well, some injury troubles off the pitch, plenty going on, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. A big couple of episodes in the head coach recently, so please do make sure you're up to date with that one. And you can find all the other playlists in the eye above, as well as the podcast channel too, with football content galore. So thank you so much for your incredible support as we come back to finish the season. And before we go and worry about anything to do with today, let's go and have a look at the schedule. Because we've had 3 games off camera and they were all comfortable. A 3-0 win at home to rivals Barla, a Max Dean brace and a Joe Duffy goal. A 4-2 win away at TNS, 2 for Dean again, 1 for Duffy again. And Daniel Williams with the earliest goal for us on that occasion. And then a 4-1 win away at Carmarthen. 1 for Duffy, 2 for Dean, and 1 for Sub Harness. Good that he's ended his goal drought, but not good that he was on the pitch at half time, because that was due to an injury to Max Dean, which is a 2-month one. Sprained knee ligaments, a real problem for him, and he's knocked his confidence, he's knocked his mental and physical attributes, and unfortunately it's put him out of this Welsh Cup final, with Kieran Clark picking up a similar injury, and some others along the back like Mon Louis who's doubtful. It really isn't a great position for us. It's a bad timing to start getting those injuries after a relatively scot-free half a season, to be honest. So a little bit of a concern there. But there is more positive news, and that comes in the form of our youth intake, which we talked about last episode being average. And we were a little bit frustrated by it because we'd had all this talk about having a really good central midfielder. But better late than never, we found our answer. Because later on, after a player who was already going to get released in John Alex Humphreys, he suddenly turned up as a 1.5 star ability player. So he gradually got increased. He was still going to get released. So we've made sure that we've brought him in. 1.5 star ability, 2.5 potential. Not got a great personality, but we've already got him in the senior squad and in a mentoring group to deal with that. But I'm really hopeful that he can become something decent if he sorts out the mental side of his game. So potentially not so disastrous an intake. We have kept a few others at the club as well, either those who have got really good personalities or those who have got a little bit of promise in their positions, just so we can try and benefit the Welsh game rather than just ours. But a really good sign that we found someone of that quality, and hopefully he'll be able to develop into a good pro. But more important than all of that today is a cup final against Barrytown United. Now, we talked about them in the last episode. They've got a good side. How they finished 8th, I'm not quite sure. Harry Gray, one of the best young players in the league. At 19, a top quality player. Probably not developing as he's on a pay-as-you-play deal, but he's really doing well. Always scoring goals, always getting assists. They've still got some of those early heroes there, the likes of Papi Diakite, who's still going at 30. The likes of James Cook, who they signed from us after 1 year at a save. And then some of the ones they've bought in January. Cameron Evans, Cameron Cox. Good players at this level. And that means they should be able to bounce back. So as much as we're devastated about the prospect of losing this final, if we do, we could end up with all of our best 4 sides in Europe. So either way, it's not a disaster. The coefficient has got to be a thought. A big summer for us has got to be a thought. But for that to happen, we need to wrap up the treble. So let's get into this game against Barrytown United. The old foes, the side that stopped us in our first Welsh Cup final appearance, the side that stopped us winning the title after our first win in the 2nd season. Whenever we slip up, whenever we're not quite at our best, it's always Barrytown who are there to take advantage. So we'd imagine that they'll be in the same position today. We're sure they'll bring their best for this one. But if we're at our best, we should win it. As we mentioned, Max Dean is out. Kieran Clark is out. Mon Louis is just about fit. We're going to play him because it's only blisters. And we were looking at potentially signing him when his contract expired in the summer. But look at some of those clubs who want him. Blackburn, Bristol City, my club Luton Town, Millwall, Swansea, our head coach club Derby. There's a lot going on there. and I doubt we'll be able to compete with them. Ian Brooks, as we last saw it, still wanted to be played with higher quality players, so it looks like it might be his last game for the club as well. So a lot of quality that could be leaving the squad, and next season could be our hardest in a while. As it is though, we've got one more big game this season, and this is the 11 we've gone for. It's George Wickens in goal, Hankin and Weaver the fullbacks. Weaver we do know will be staying next year. Hankin's still flying the flag for our academy and our new gens produced at the club, coming up to 100 appearances for us now in the league. Monlouis and Badebo centre half, Woods, Cannell, Brooks and Cottrell the midfield diamond four, and then Duffy joined by Harness up front this time, with Paul Glatzel on the bench. I mean, he's barely played since January, hasn't scored since about then either. If we have a look at his form, his last goal was back in November last year. I mean, it's frightening really. So out of form attackers, Maguire's there, Williams is there, Benson and Rashesha too. But really, the first 11 need to do the job, or we could be in a spot of bother. On a side note, it's our 300th game in charge of Bangor City. We've still got a year left on our contract, I believe. I've not seen anything to say we're running out. There you go, a year to go on the contract still, so we're well in control. Now let's go and get into the Welsh Cup final and see if we can beat Barrytown United. Well, all of the players we mentioned are playing today. Diakite starting, Cook's on the bench, but Harry Gray's there, the defenders Cox and Evans signed in January are there. So this is going to be a real tough test. On paper, they've got one of the best first 11s, and next season, I've no doubt they'll be back in that top four. But this is a big game for them. It's their last chance to get into Europe. It's their chance to win a trophy and salvage a poor season. They're coming out with a 4-4-2. They're really trying to take the game to us. So let's see who comes out on top. We're heavy favourites, but we know Barrytown have got the threat. Well, to be fair, nearly half an hour gone. No highlights. The stats fairly even. And Hankin's got the ball on the right to Harness. Can we make it happen here? Barker punches. No idea why. And Dimon manages to hoof it clear. Hankin finds Cottrell though. Back to Brooks. This is a real chance for us. To Cannell. To Hankin. Chance to get it in the box. We've created chances in this match, but not really good ones until there. Cottrell puts this one wide. Another shot off target. And our expected goals suggest we should be ahead. We've dominated possession. We've dominated the chances now. But we tend to the break. Barrytown are hanging on in there. And we've seen them do this so often before, and then heartbreak follows. But Weaver's got a chance to change that on the left. Very advanced throw-in on that left-hand side. Plays a 1-2 with Brooks. Chance to get the ball in. Brooks to Cottrell. Stunning finish by the number 10. An excellent ball into the box. A really well-guided finish. And it's Bangor City 1, Barrytown 0. And deservedly, we take the lead just before the break. A really good effort from the 8th place side, albeit a poor season and a much better team. But they've held us well, and in the end they're perhaps unfortunate to concede before the break. But this is where they've got to come out, they've got to try and play. And have they got the capability of doing that? I'm not quite sure. As Cottrell gets the knockdown from Woods in the middle. Back into the centre circle, out to Weaver on the left. Could really wrap it up with a second here. Weaver to the byline, 2 in support. Goes back to Ian Brooks. Chance to cross, back to the edge. Hankin finds Luca Cannell. 1-2 back to Hankin. Is he going to dare to shoot or is he going to go wide? I think he's going wide. Trying to find a byline. Cuts it into Cottrell. Chance to shoot on his left. And it's off the post. A stunning finish. And big game players turn up in the big matches. And Ben Cottrell has done exactly that. 2-0 with an hour gone. And hopefully that's the treble wrapped up for our sake. We're going to go and make a couple of changes. I think Harness has probably not been at his best today. He's going to be replaced by Glatzel with Joe Duffy switching to the right. Brooks is a little bit tired and he deserves a send-off in his last game, so he'll be replaced by Daniel Williams. And then Monlouis a bit tired as well. So I'm going to bring on Rashesha. I'm not sure who's best of the 4 at centre-half. I don't think it's Hankin and I don't think it's Weaver. So Rashesha's going to play alongside Badebo for now. And with 25 to go, hopefully we can celebrate a big cup final victory. Well, 5 minutes to go. We've had 2/3 of the possession, 25 shots, 9 on target. And in the end, it probably should have been more than 2. But Barrytown United have put up a fight. It's been a poor season for them, but at least they got a final. But we're going to get to lift the Welsh Cup. A fantastic performance. And this side just goes from strength to strength. We were so worried after that League Cup tie at the start of the season, but we always had the bigger goals in mind. The Champions League group stages for the first time. Of course, we'll be back after the summer to do it all again. Can we get to the Champions League again? Will it be the Europa League? Will it be a big run in the Europa Conference? But all we know is we've won a treble this year. The League, the Welsh Cup and the SPFL Trust Trophy. and it goes down as a memorable one for Bangor City. A brilliant display in a game that mattered, the goalkeeper getting out his cartwheels again. But a wonderful performance to finish it off, and a fantastic treble to round off a brilliant year. We've got our end of season review to come in a minute. We've got to keep our eyes on Welsh football as well. But that wraps up qualification for Carmarthen and for TNS. And we need those to support the coefficient next year. Because next season is probably the biggest one for this nation. Can the other two start to progress? Can they start to get towards the group stages? And can we start to make it a nation going from strength to strength, rather than just Bangor City? We'll be back in a moment for the end of season review, where we can reflect on this fantastic campaign for Bangor City Football Club. Here we go then, time for the end of season review. As Bangor City are champions, we did lose that invincible run, but nonetheless a brilliant campaign. Just 2 draws, 1 defeat. Carmarthen and TNS both had a very good season. Connors Key in 4th, perhaps unlucky not to do better, and perhaps they'll get into Europe and get stronger as well. But hopefully we're not far away from TNS and Carmarthen getting into the second qualifier automatically. But that's based on our coefficient, because we're the only one building this nation at present. So let's go and have a look at the end of season review. 3 trophies down there again, including the new one in the SPFL Trust Trophy. But loads of signings that made an impact this year. The 2 loan ones right at the top. I really hope we can keep Monlouis. George Wickens had a really good year, the keeper. Archie Woods, a fantastic signing at the back. Callum Maguire did well. He made an impact when he played. Rashasha in January, a solid signing. And then after that, all the youngsters that came in from the youth intake. And then just the return of Gwyn Tudor, who had a decent spell. And hopefully, as he goes out on loan again, he'll continue to prove himself. But good transfers in, they made an impact. We dominated the league again. And those other sides just not quite there yet. We need TNS as the professional side to really step up, have another good transfer window. And Carmarthen, can they produce the European magic again? If they get through a few qualifying rounds, get to the group stages, perhaps that's when they can turn professional. The dream, though, was the Champions League. We reached the group stages for the first time. Of course, that meant we didn't get that big European run like we did the season before. The Europa Conference, we got all the way to the quarters. Here, we were very much out of the groups. But my word, what a 6 games it was. And a draw against Inter Milan, something we'll never ever forget. And going out of Europe at Christmas meant we got a chance in the SPFL Trust Trophy. A very unconvincing narrow win against York City in the second round, but Kilmarnock Bohemians comprehensively dispatched, and Celtic reserves beaten comfortably in the final. The Welsh Cup, a brilliant victory, and to be honest, bar the final against Barry, it was very comfortable. And then the League Cup, that was the shock of the season. Out in the first round to second tier Llandudno. And in the end, I don't know who won that competition. Who won the League Cup in the end? I'm not quite sure. How do we go and find out from here? There we go. In the end, it was won by Aberystwyth of the second tier. TNS lost to them in the final. Still got George Glendon as skipper, that Aberystwyth side, one of our former pros. And they finished third in the end. Port Talbot and Llanelli just above them. Llanelli back to the top tier. I'm sure one of our loan players went there. Was it Gwyn Tudor? It was. And he played a key role in getting them promoted. I'm going to suggest a loan extension to see if he'll stay there. Athenlido, our feeder club, really rose up the league after we got their deal with them. A couple of players on loan, and Les Shakespeare, who went to them in January. 10 goals in 9 games, and he made some impact as a youngster at that club. But let's get back to our season review. And next up is the moments to remember. The 1-0 defeat against Legia Warsaw, I guess it was the match to remember, because it's the one that took us into the Champions League groups for the first time. A 2-0 first leg win, and after conceding in the first minute, we feared the worst. We know that come next season, there's no guarantee we'll win ties like that. But on that occasion we did. And financially, it was money spinning for us. It's allowed us to improve the training facilities again, the youth facilities again, the youth recruitment, the junior coaching, the scouting range. It has made such a difference to this football club. And even if we don't get there again next year, it's really done wonders for this nation. A 6-1 win against Swansea Uni, definitely the match to remember in terms of the biggest win. And then goal of the season from Max Dean, a stunning free kick against Bala. The finances, absolutely brilliant. The broadcast revenue down because we didn't get as far in Europe, but the domestic broadcast revenue has increased. And that's a massive positive for us. Sponsorship is up, everything else off the pitch is up. And look at the prize money. Last season we got all the way to the quarters of the Europa Conference and bought in just shy of 5 million. And just from reaching the group stages of the Champions League, we got 12. That's absolutely incredible and shows what a difference it makes. The reputation's good, we're hoping we can creep it up to 2 stars soon, particularly now we're playing in the Champions League, or we did last season. And fingers crossed that's just around the corner. Merchandise sales are good, they're still popping up very slightly, and the best 11 is as you would expect. It's pretty much the 11 I'd name as my first choice. Dean and Duffy up front, Cannell in that midfield role, and Jack Hankins made it his own at right back. A brilliant side, brilliant performances, 19 assists for Hankin. And we really have underrated some of these players. They're becoming absolute superstars and legends of the club. As you'd expect, we won Manager of the Year yet again. The Fans Player of the Season, Joe Duffy. He also won Young Player, very much the top goal scorer by a million miles. George Wickens, he got signing of the season. A fantastic effort from him as the new keeper. 26 clean sheets for the new stopper. Archie Woods picking up 15 yellows, really embracing that ball-winning role. And Martin Tranter, 1 appearance, 1 goal. The 16-year-old's really starting to develop. Max Dean got the fastest ever goal for us, 15 seconds in this season. But what a fantastic time for us. A treble, history in the making, our first SPFL Trust Trophy. And so much to look forward to moving forward. A big summer to come, a big expectation next year is whether we can get to those Champions League groups again, bringing that financial reward. The board have got higher expectations. They now expect the 3rd qualifying round. Of course, we're still expected to win the domestic campaign. We've not got those expectations to sign players from Argentina or Italy. We're going of our own accord. We can do it properly now. And for us, it's going to be a fantastic occasion. A big transfer window to come. If we lose Monlouis and Brooks, can we replace them with equal quality? Or will we have to accept a slightly weaker team next year? We will be back for the qualifiers. The first big game coming up, normally at some point in July. And I hope you'll join me for it. But what a fantastic season. We'll finish on the competition screen so you can see the 3 games we won. The Welsh Cup, the Trust Trophy and the Welsh Premier League. And we'll see which one of those 4 clubs are joining us in Europe next year. That'll be next time out. Could be rivals Barla after coming back. Cardiff Met Uni, probably just the favourites against Connors Quay. But if you did enjoy this one, wrapping up the treble and another fantastic season in this Builder Nation, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories, a few big ones in the head coach which you can catch up with in the eye above, as well as all the other playlists including the live stream series and the podcast channel with loads of football content too. Let me know in the comments what you think of the summer ahead. Is this going to be the one where we have to break our wage structure, where we have to really try and take that step up? Or do we continue as we are and try and do it realistically? I guess that depends on the coefficient and how the other clubs do in Europe. But a massive thanks for watching, for following along for another season again. I'm loving this save and I hope you're enjoying it too. And I'll see you next time for a big transfer special ahead of European football and the dream starting again. Can we make the Champions League groups twice in a row? I hope you'll join me next time to find out. I'll see you there.